Welcome to Pizza Talk. I'm Peter Reinhardt, and we're going across the pond today. I'm with Thom Elliot. And Thom, for those of you who don't know already, and some of you already know Thom, and Thom and his brother James wrote this amazing book called Pizza. Of course, it's with lots of subtitles, but the key word here is a book by the Pizza Pilgrims, which is you, Thom. You're one of the two pilgrims that authored this book. So tell us all about it, because you're living the Pizza Quest dream. You're doing it out there, and you did it, and you went to a lot of places and wrote about it. So we want to hear all about it.
We're certainly trying our best. It's not a very imaginative title, is it? We could have done better than just pizza.
I don't know. That says it all right there.
Do you know what the working title for the book was? The Pizzapedia. And then, first of all, we discovered that book actually does already exist in a very different form. But secondly, we just felt it didn't. The thing that just kept coming up about pizza is this love message, and the people involved with it. It's just, there's so much love for pizza and in pizza and around pizza. And it just felt that the Pizzapedia was just too cold. It didn't capture that joy.
Yeah. A little too in the head.
Yeah.
Not enough
Agreed.
in the heart. Yeah.
Agreed. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah. I've been looking forward to this because, well, first of all, how did you and James sort of get the idea and the courage to go out on the road and do it?
Well, the courage was beer, so that was an easy one to cover off.
You got a little help with that, yeah.
Yeah, the idea, I guess, was beer too. No, I mean, our parents have always run restaurants, and we found ourselves in our late 20s in London in proper jobs, just wishing that we worked in food. And I think we had so many ideas, and we didn't have any money, and we didn't have, anyone who would give us the money, essentially. So we just sat in the pub one day, and we were talking about pizza ovens as a company. And then my brother had just done a cooking course in northern Italy and had seen these three-wheel Piaggio Apes driving round. I don't know if you know the vehicle I mean, but...
Well, I have it right here. For the people who don't know what we're talking about, the Piaggio Ape is this, can you see it there? Yeah, the little three-wheeler that are all over Europe, right? But
yeah.
Well,
they're not all over Europe. They're in Italy. I mean, like, genuinely, 10 years ago, you'd never seen one of those in London. And it's a very kind of like, it's almost like a toy vehicle. Like, it's an incredible thing. It's like a Vespa, which is a motorcycle, but it's called an Ape because an Ape is a bee. So a Vespa, do you have a Vespa in the US? Do you have that?
We have Vespas, and we're just starting to get Apes. In fact, we're going to be talking to a guy from upstate New York who brought an Ape over here, and he's got three little ovens built in the back of it, and he's doing a whole he calls them
nice.
Because of wheels on wheels.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. But like a Vespa is a wasp. That's a Vespa in Italian is wasp, and Ape is bee. And they're essentially the same vehicle, but one of them's got a van on the back for work, and the other's just for fun of wasp. So anyway, that's where that comes from. But yeah, so we had this idea in the pub, but we realised, this was 10 years ago, and we knew nothing about pizza really. And, quite genuinely, we didn't know what we know today. So we're like, look, we're going to go to Italy, we're going to buy this Ape, we're going to drive it back, and on the way, we're going to learn everything we possibly can about pizza from all the Italian cities that we can possibly visit. And then we're going to come back, we're going to put a pizza oven in it, and we're going to set up our own little pizza stall, and it's all going to be very lovely. The first mistake that we made was we bought this Ape in the very, very southern tip of the toe of the boot of Italy. And we budgeted 1 week to get back. And then we set off out of the dealership in this vehicle and realized that it had a 15 miles an hour top speed. And there's footage of us being overtaken up a hill by a jogger. And suddenly we were like, we are not going to make it through Italy in a week. No chance.
That's right. Yeah, you're in for the long haul now.
Suddenly it was like, we are here for a time. So it was, and that was a sort of eponymous pizza pilgrimage. And, we did learn a huge amount. We obviously went to Naples and we went to Rome, and we visited, basil farms and mozzarella production places, and we made Parmesan, and we made Parma ham, and all the stuff that goes on pizza we saw, as well as the guys making some of the best pizza in the world. And it was just this incredible 6-week education in pizza. And, we've tried to kind of keep learning ever since, and, see all the all the varieties across the world that, you know, it's spawned from something that was invented in Naples in the late 1800s.
So when you got back to the UK, then did you decide to then go ahead and you did open a pizzeria? Did you do it out
No,
of the
so
truck?
we didn't. We took our little truck. We opened, the whole business was started on a credit card. We got our truck, we put the oven in the back of it, and we set up in a little street market in Soho, which is a sort of really sort of buzzy, creative area right in the middle of London. We just lucked out massively to get a space on this market there. And at that time, like, you guys obviously had street food for years. I think it's probably something to do with weather. But in London, that, you know, in 2012, that was a brand new concept, really.
Yeah.
You could go and buy off a street food stall. And we just became part of this kind of crazy scene. And it got, you know, we learned a huge amount in the first year. And then I think after about 18 months trading on that market stall, we managed to find some people who believed in us, and they helped us open our first pizzeria.
What do you call the pizzeria?
They're just called Pizza Pilgrims. They're all called Pizza Pilgrims.
So that's the brand. Pizza Pilgrim is the brand, and you are the Pizza Pilgrim. So
I guess we are. Yeah.
So when someone goes into the store, do they see photos from your trip? Is it kind of like going into a sort of a museum of your pilgrimages?
They all try to be different, but some of them do have. I mean, there's a lot of photos that we've kind of taken off our Instagram on the wall, so my face does adorn the wall more than I would like, if I'm honest. But then each one we try to make different. So actually, the one we're sitting in here, we've got different sections. I'm just going to show you because it's just quite fun.
I love
this
it.
section.
Yeah.
This section is the Parmesan section. So we're actually closed now, obviously, because of COVID. But you can see this is we just got all these like half wheels of Parmesan. When you walk in, you kind of walk through this corridor of Parmesan. So the idea is that each section of this restaurant. So this is supposed to be a sort of Tuscan wine cellar. And then you've got Parma with the Parmesan. And then upstairs, we've got sort of cobbled streets like Naples. And we've got sort of, we've got like laundry hanging from the ceiling and things like that. And then there's
but all those wheels of Parmesan that we said, those are real wheels of cheese that are there?
No, they're fake, but they're very good fake. Like,
they look pretty real, yeah.
Yeah, we have to touch them to believe they're not real.
I was going to say, that's a lot of inventory if those are real wheels of cheese. So
we could afford it. They cost 25 grand each, those wheels of Parmesan. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I'm thinking, well, you're in the wrong business, man. You're in the Parm business. So, and your style of pizza is pretty much based on what you learned over in Italy. It's a more Neapolitan style, or do you do different styles?
Yeah. No, we are very much a Neapolitan pizza business, and have been since the start. And Naples does really have our heart with pizza. It was the first place really that was famous for pizza that we went to on the pilgrimage. And I don't know if you've been to Naples or not, but those great Neapolitan pizzerias, when you eat there, you're just like, there's something unbelievable about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They set the bar real high for you. In fact, I just had breakfast the other day with a friend of yours, Paulie G from Brooklyn.
Paulie,
you feature in the book. And Paulie was coming through my town, Charlotte. And so we had breakfast together, and he told me that he had been to your place in London. And I said, well, how's the pizza? And he said, pretty damn good. So that was high praise from Paulie. Yeah. He was very impressed.
That is actually praise from Paulie. God bless Paulie.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the Neapolitans, they're amazing. And I guess, obviously, they have this thing where, the mozzarella that they use with their pizza was made like that morning, 5 miles away. Whereas, we're in London, we're a lot closer to Naples than you guys are, I guess. But, our best hope is 2-3 days to get that mozzarella to London. Yeah. So, they just have this blessing of like incredible ingredients on their doorstep.
Well, you and your brother, basically were on the road together. First of all, not every pair of brothers can coexist for that long, in cramped space. Like, how are you guys similar and how are you different from each other? And what did you each bring to the pilgrimage?
I mean, I think the only reason we make it is that we are very different in terms of, James is just the internal optimist, and his brain just works in a way that he's creative and just always comes up with stuff that I just never would have thought of. And I'm the kind of like, right, what's the plan? How do we make sure this is all on track? Have we done a spreadsheet? Always need a spreadsheet. So
who's older?
We are very different. Yeah.
Who's the older brother?
I'm older.
You're the older brother.
Yeah. So I always get the final vote, so it's fine.
Right, but he gets to come up with all the wild, crazy ideas.
Always.
So, and then in terms of how you divide the work at the pizzeria, do you both work on the line? Do you both work the front and the back, or how does that
No,
go?
I mean, sadly, you know, those days we do try and get into the pizzerias as much as we can, but you know, when we did the van and we opened that first pizzeria, I was the manager. I ran the front of house. My brother ran the kitchen, so he's very much the food focus, and I'm, I guess, some of the, customer and like spreadsheety focus.
The
But
business
you
guy,
know,
yeah.
as with everything, you know, you start a business to get away from an office and a desk, and slowly but surely you creep back to that same place of like
Yeah.
being at
At
a
some
desk.
point, you gotta solve problems, and you gotta manage people, and you've got to manage payroll and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it's a sad truth, but no, we are very lucky. We've worked together now for 8 years. We've not had a falling out as yet. Christmas has not been cancelled as yet, and maybe this year it will. God knows. Yeah, it's no, it's been an amazing journey. We have navigated our way through it somehow.
Well, you feature a lot of great people in the book, and which is sort of like the blueprint of your pilgrimage of all these places that you got to visit. You know, we call our version Pizza Quest, and you've got Pizza Pilgrimage. I feel like we need to get the quest onto your ape, and we need to get you on our bus. Then we go out together and kind of combine forces, because you're hitting places that we'd love to hit, and we'd like to take you to places that we've seen too. You have any plans
Absolutely.
to do another round?
We're on, you know, I think we just want to be on this pilgrimage forever, and exactly like a quest and a pilgrimage. I mean, there's a marginal difference there, right? We're doing the same thing, so we're just honored to be here.
Different words for the same thing, yeah. And we're
100%.
finding, of course, the reason, and you're finding it too, I'm sure, that there's a whole lot of people like you and like us who all want to be out there on the bus, on the ape, on the pilgrimage, because it's kind of a dream that everybody would love to be able to go to these amazing pizzerias.
Absolutely, but I think it's also, you know, you'll know this as well. Like the bit that I just love about the pizza world, and it's actually very true in America. Like the people are so amazing. Like everyone we meet who works in pizza, they're so passionate and they're so into it, and they're so just like interesting and exciting and excited. And that's the thing that the book just kept throwing up. Is like the people who dedicate their life to pizza are some of the best people in the world.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like we felt like we found this community of kindred spirits who all, very generous, number one, very friendly,
Absolutely.
very, it's not a world of secrets and protectiveness. It's really a lot about sharing.
Absolutely right, and I guess that's what pizza is, right? It's a thing designed for sharing. There's so many like
Exactly.
things that just are these common themes throughout. I mean, a question that we asked every single person that we interviewed, and we interviewed Paulie, and we interviewed Paulie, but we also interviewed like the CEO of Pizza Hut, and then we tried to like just get this breadth of like, let's try and get someone from every different kind of pizza, and one question we asked every single one is like, why is pizza this sort of transcendental food for humanity? Why do people talk about pizza like they talk about their wife? Like, or why is it the food that they turn to when their time is hard? You know, they talk about pizza like this thing that they couldn't get through life without, and no one talks about a burger like that. And it was so interesting. Like all these people just had such different answers for why pizza is, just held on this pedestal. Paulie's was a great answer. He was like, it's one of the few things in the world where $10 can get you the best of it. Like you can never drive the best car. You can never like necessarily have the best house or the best job. But for $10, you can walk off the street and buy the best pizza in the world. And that's a rare thing for most. You can't do that with steak or cheese or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a great insight. And you know what? I'd like to hear more about this part of the sort of the takeaways, the little gems and the golden nuggets that you and your brother came up with during this travel. So why don't we take a little break here? We're going to come back in segment 2. We'll be back with Thom Elliot. We'll hear more about the pizza pilgrimage that he and his brother went on, the work that they've done, and really looking forward to kind of like some of the anecdotes and stories, the highlights of your trip. So come back for part 2 of Pizza Talk. I'm here with Thom Elliot, and I'll see you on the next segment. Welcome back to Pizza Talk. I'm Peter Reinhardt. I'm here with Thom Elliot. who's about to take us on a little tour of the pizzeria, the Pizza Pilgrims, with which he and his brother started. Hey, by the way, this is the book, this incredible book, Pizza, of course. And of course, the book looks like a pizza box. Right?
That was
In
the
fact, it
plan.
even says hold book flat. I love that. All the little fun things. It looks like you guys were just having too much fun, basically, doing what you were doing. And then all these great little trivia pieces about pizza and incredible little factoids throughout the book about pizza and some of the personalities that you met. So, of course, we want to hear more about that in part 2 of today's conversation. But I'm just holding the book up so all of you who want to get a copy know that you can get it. It's just called Pizza, and then the sort of the subtitle, A Book by Pizza Pilgrims. So those are the keywords. You should have no trouble finding it, wherever your bookseller is. And I just received my copy yesterday, so I've already kind of like read through a lot of things, but not from cover to cover yet. But I'm kind of picking some highlights, and I noticed a lot of friends of Pizza Quest already featured in the book. Paulie G. We talked about Scott Wiener, who is a regular a guest on Pizza. He has his own show here called Pizza Box of the Week. In fact, I think that he showed me a box that looks just like this out of his box collection. And so I know Scott was featured in your book, along with Tony Gemignani, who's sort of our American Franco Pepe, so to speak. You got to visit with Franco Pepe outside of Naples at his famous pizzeria, so we want to hear a little bit about that. Thom, take it away. Tell us a little bit more about your adventures, maybe some highlights, some of your favorite moments on the road.
Yeah, I think, it started with the first pilgrimage back in Italy. And I think, as we have just, been building the business and, obviously started to realize that pizza is just, so much bigger than just Italy or anything like that. I think we've just had these opportunities to go and do just these incredible trips. But we really wanted the book to be, it's something that we've been talking about for years. And we really wanted it to reflect like how much pizza comes into pop culture and is just part of every facet of our lives. So yes, we really wanted to have some recipes. We've got amazing recipes on Chicago pizza from the guys at Gino's East, and New York pizza, and obviously a lot of Neapolitan pizza. But we also really wanted to kind of find some other ways where pizza touched us. So we've got our favorite pizza scenes from the movies, or our favorite pizzerias that feature in the movies or in TV shows. We've got one of my favorite sections in the book actually is how you eat your pizza and what it says about you. So we worked with this kind of body language coach, and we looked at all the different ways that we've seen in all the 10 years we've running pizzerias, all the ways that we've seen people eat a pizza. And then we've asked the body language expert to talk us through what that might say about their personality, which I think.
What can you tell us a little bit about that? Like what does it mean if somebody folds the pizza in a certain way, or if they eat it with a knife and fork? What does that tell us? We've had some controversial conversations because Americans think you don't eat a pizza with a knife and fork, but in Italy, it's not unusual for someone to eat it with a knife.
Totally normal. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think the danger is that you kind of obviously don't want to typecast people too much, but you're exactly right. People have been kind of ridiculed for eating pizza with a knife and fork. And been thrown out of the system. And actually, if you go to Naples, I will happily admit that I will eat a Neapolitan pizza with a knife and fork, no problem at all. Yeah. My favorite is the Neapolitan, they're always in a rush. I don't know if you've been to Naples or not, but they're always in a rush. Everything is just frenetic. I think it just comes from being a city built on the edge of an active volcano.
That's right. You better be ready to go in a minute. Yeah.
Every day counts. Which I just
and if that thing blows, no matter how fast you are, if that thing blows again, there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
But I guess what it means is you've got to live every minute as if it's your last. Because but they do a thing called portafoglio, where you take a whole circular Neapolitan pizza, and you fold it in half, and then you fold it in half again, so you end up with a quarter, and then you eat it crust down. And you can eat it on the go, and that says a lot about if you've not got enough time to stop and eat a pizza even by the slice, you're in a rush. Very
interesting. Yeah. Well, pizza, body language of pizza could be a whole book unto itself.
Maybe it will be. So
do you have another book? Is this your first or second book? This pizza book.
We did do a first book back in the day when we first came back from our pilgrimage. But actually, that was what really kicked us off, because that book came out, and basically the publishers were like, love the pizza thing, that's great, but we don't think it's enough for a pizza. It's enough to carry a book. Like, pizza is just not a big enough topic to carry a whole book.
That's what they think.
Yeah, you're wrong. So
You're
they kind of forced us down this route of, there's pasta in there, and there's puddings, and there's lots of Italian stuff that we learned on our pilgrimage, but it's not where our heart is. And so I think ever since that book came out in 2013, we've been like, pizza is absolutely big enough to carry a whole book. And we've just been like hammering that point of like, who's listening out there? How can we convince someone this is a thing? And finally, Quadrille Hardy Grant did agree. And we worked with Sarah on it and Harriet, who've been amazing to bring it all to life. And we're just so chuffed that, at the end, they were literally going, you need to stop now. There are so many ideas that just didn't make the book.
It's probably enough for 2 or 3 books, actually, and which could be the next stage for you. But have you and your brother ever made it over for Pizza Expo in Las Vegas?
Yeah, absolutely. So we did Pizza Expo in 2017, I think, in Vegas.
Yeah.
Incredible. Absolutely loved it. Just a massive celebration of all that.
Well, I think if anybody ever had any doubt whether pizza was big enough to carry a book, if you go to Pizza Expo, then that the doubts are gone. Yeah,
absolutely right. My brother's here, by the way. Look, do you want to see him?
Fantastic! So this is James Elliot. There he is, walking into the screen. Fantastic, James. Nice to meet you. I'm Peter. Great to meet you in person finally. And we're just catching up with Thom on some of your exploits out there as Pizza Pilgrims, and
Excellent.
We're kind of on a parallel path with you. We're the Pizza Questers. Our whole thing started around the same time. We started on our quest in 2010, although I wrote a book about my personal quest in around 2003 and hooked up with Brad and Jeff, who are my partners in Pizza Quest, and they took the first book and came up with the idea of let's go out and take it on the road. And now we're finding out that there's you guys out there doing the exact same thing.
As long as it's a pizza journey of some sort, I'm in.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you guys have taken the journey full circle, and now you're the pilgrimage point for other people to come to you.
I like that.
That's good.
That idea.
We're finally the destination.
Put it on the box. Put it right on the box. I think Thom had said he was going to take us upstairs and show us the restaurant. Can we do that? Can we follow you?
Can we do that now? Yeah, I'm gonna go. Let's do it.
All right, we'll follow you up the stairs to the restaurant portion.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take. So maybe edit this bit out. I don't know. Let me see if I can. Can I rotate my camera? That's the really big one. Here we go. Now I'm talking.
Now we're following James through the Parm room.
This is the Parmesan corridor.
Yeah, we love those Parms. Wish they were real, but they sure look real. Yeah.
Sadly, they're not real. Then we go up here. So these are. So there you go. That's Toscana. In there.
We've left Tuscany. Now we're heading up the stairs to Naples, I assume.
We're heading up the stairs. Actually, the first port of call. Do you like our pizza? Here you go. Pizza boxes stacked up. You know it's legit. So this is Amalfi room. Obviously,
Amalfi.
And this is Tom and Bleddy rocking it.
All right.
Obviously, it looks better when there are loads of humans and stuff. It's a very empty.
So you've got these beautiful, for people who can't see this, you've got beautiful murals on the wall that capture the spirit of Amalfi Coast, Positano, and some of the great sort of tourist destinations along the coast.
Absolutely. And then we come out of here and we go through into this. We've got another film crew in here, actually, unbelievably. But look, up here we've got, this is Naples area. So we've got.
That is awesome.
All the laundry hanging from the wall.
Yeah, right.
From the ceiling.
Yeah. Now we feel like we're really in Naples. Yeah.
Napoli football. And we've got this amazing, like, sort of cobbled things. And we actually, all these tables had, like, umbrellas. Like, they've all been taken out now. It's a bit odd doing a tour of pizzeria in lockdown, but.
Well, that's right. So you guys are in lockdown. So are you allowed to serve people indoors, or are you only serving people to come and take it to go?
We're only allowed to do to go, which is very, very sad, really. You know, we're really a business for to serve people, and actually, when you're
I mean, you've got this incredible venue. It's so colorful and beautiful, and the tables are beautiful. You know, it looks like carved wood. I mean, who wouldn't want to be in there hanging out? And I'm sure we all are counting the days when we can do that again. But you got to keep the doors. You got to keep the cash flowing. So you got to pivot like everyone else has to the sort of the grab and go.
Absolutely, and we've been doing these pizza in the post kits as well. So we created these kits that we've got the dough and tomato and the cheese all in the kit. Let me show you here.
So a kit that people can make their own pizzas?
Exactly. So got a pizza box here. Open it up.
A pizza box with slots with everything kind of.
So you got 2 dough balls, tomato, fiore latte, parmesan, flour for dusting, basil, olive oil. And
it's a great design. I love the design where you have the cutouts for each of these different ingredients to slot in.
There you go. Pizza in the post.
Pizza in the post.
So we literally wrap that in wool with an ice pack, and then you can send it to anywhere in the UK, and it will get there the next day. And then you can make 48-hour Neapolitan-proof pizza at home.
So how do you keep the dough from over fermenting then if it's going out 24 hours? Is there a cold pack in there keeping the temperature down?
No, so it's proof for 48 hours and then chilled. And then, exactly. It goes, the whole box is wrapped in a sort of insulating material.
I see,
and then
so it
packed in an
stays
ice pack.
Yeah,
so it's posted overnight. So it's usually about sort of 20 hours max.
So the key is that it gets there within 24 hours so that everything's still viable and good.
Yeah, everything's still cold, and then you just need to make it, either put it in the fridge or make it straight away.
Fantastic. Are people buying them? Are they selling?
We did, I think we did about 1,000 kits yesterday.
Fantastic! Wow.
Yeah, it's been given we're in the middle of lockdown, it's been a lifesaver, really.
Well, the post office must be happy. They're getting some business too, right?
I don't think they need the business. I mean, I think all of the delivery companies in England, I don't know about, I'm sure it's the same with you, obviously so much online shopping. They're like, we've basically been in Christmas mode since March.
Yeah. Well, it's great. At least you found a way to, well, who knows, how many of these things may stick around after things return to so-called normal. We may see a totally different normal where we don't go back to the way it was.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, we're just, we're so excited about normal, and I'm personally really excited about the vaccine and whatever. But
today we're actually talking to you on the day. People will see this after we are having our little conversation, but today was the day that announcement was made that vaccines are going to be coming out and that approvals have been given. So we're already starting to salivate about the next phase.
Feels very real all of a sudden.
Yeah. So can you give us a shot of the ovens that you do when you're baking them?
Of course.
For the
Let me spin this around. So this is the pizzeria. This is the pizza kitchen.
All right.
This is Domenico.
There's Domenico. Is he your head Itaiolo?
Head Pizzaiolo in our pizzeria in Victoria.
All right.
I can't see it. Maybe we'll spin it around. It's a bit less weird. And then he's actually in the.
There you go. The two of you together. There you go. Hey.
Pizza in America.
And of course your theme, your color theme. You've got your greens and your whites and your reds, just like the book.
A lot of green, white, and red. That's definitely a thing.
You got your brand really firmly established.
And this is the oven over here.
Beautiful oven. Brought over from Italy.
So this actually, it comes from Milan, actually, not from Naples. They're called Pavesi. That's the P for Pavesi there.
Oh, Pavesi,
and Pilgrims. And they're actually gas-fired, so you can see that in the back.
So you don't have to burn wood. You can, so it's a brick oven, but fired by gas flame.
Fired by gas, actually, which we love. It's much more consistent, so we think so anyway.
Of course. How long do your pizzas bake for?
Probably about 60, 70 seconds, maybe.
So you get it fired up really hot, even with the gas.
It's about 800 Fahrenheit in there, probably.
So sticking really true to the Neapolitan style. We're seeing across the board so many different variations. Some people like to bake them for 3.5 minutes, but in the Neapolitan style, but with a longer bake to get a crisper crust. There's regional differences, I guess you'd say, which leads me to my question. As you were traveling through Italy, you saw different regional approaches. Not everybody was doing Naples pizza. You went to Rome. You went to Florence. You went to Genoa. You went everywhere to see pizza. What kind of takeaways did you have from those experiences?
I mean, it's so interesting. I mean, nothing beats Naples in terms of that pizza's just in their blood. Like they live, breathe pizza. Like it's the most important thing in their day in some cases, and that that really comes through in the product. I think, and that their real obsession is about the dough. Like the dough is everything, and anything that goes on top of it is basically dressing the dough. And I think when you get to Rome, pizza's still a huge part of obviously Roman culture, but it's not got that like tradition. It's not got that we invented this thing that the world loves.
Well, cities like Rome, they don't invent things. They steal them from everybody else, and then they claim to be the best at it.
Classic Roman Empire stuff. They never died.
Right. Well, when you were in Rome, did you get to experience the Bonci style, Roman style pizzas there?
We met Bonci.
Is he featured in the book?
Do you know what? Bonci is not featured in the book because he's featured in that. We talk about his pizzeria and we talk about his pizza and we talk about him, but we met him so many years ago, and we had a contact with him that basically the beer provider that we use, he worked with, and that was our line of communication. And then they fell out, so we couldn't get back to him again. But he's an incredible guy. He's quite erratic.
You were clearly captivated by the Naples style. That's been the sort of the pinnacle for you. But when you were experiencing some of these other styles, did any of them kind of like give you aha moments, or were there pizzas where you went, wow,
I think that's the interesting thing is when you get to Rome, the toppings suddenly really come into sharp focus, and that's the bit that's exciting. And it's like, let's try this with this and see if it works.
Yeah.
And that, we definitely had that moment with Bonci when we were in his kitchen. Everything was just an experiment. He had this amazing moment where he took this like whole handful of what was it? It was like fresh oregano basically, and he took it in his hand. He's a massive guy, and he basically set it on fire. Like he set the whole thing on fire in his hand, and then like stubbed it out on this pizza. And he was like, burnt oregano at the end. And it was just this kind of crazy Willy Wonka mad moment. But it was that kind of experimentation. It was just like, let's just chuck it on and see if it works.
Isn't that interesting?
That felt so different to Naples, where they're like, this is how you do it. You do not deviate. We've done it this way for 200 years. Like, everything is a science.
And it's true that, and I think that there's these yin and the yang, and being able to go to the fringes of things is part of how anything evolves. But when you were in Naples, you got to spend some time with Franco Pepe, who's become sort of the kingpin but taking the Naples style, but also into some new directions, not just the past, it's the future with him. What were some of the things he was doing that were innovative?
He just, everything about him was incredible. We met him and chatted to him, and he, he's very, very revered. Like, he's a very serious guy. Like, he talks about pizza at a very sort of like cosmic level.
Yeah.
And, he's talking about like, how do I make a pizza that cures cancer and that kind of stuff, but doing it very seriously.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But he just, he's exactly that. He's taken all of that like stuffy, you can't change this, and he's gone, I don't buy that at all. This is where you can take pizza. The one I always love, which just gets me every time with Franco Pepe, is obviously you say to an Italian person, pineapple on pizza, they'll go, absolutely no way. Like pineapple is a complete no. I've even got an Italian chef walking down going, no to that pineapple on pizza.
Right. Yeah, it's a flashpoint issue.
But then Franco Pepe has gone, he's created a pizza which is like a mini fried calzone that has pineapple in it. And he's kind of gone, and it's called, the pineapple is hidden inside the sauce, basically. And there's some clever wordplay that I'm not going to remember, but basically the word for hidden and the word for pineapple in Italian are very similar. So there's a word play around the dish, but the idea is that there's pineapple in the dish. Yeah. You get people to eat it, and they go, oh my God, that's delicious, what's in it? And then he goes, pineapple.
You know what I find fascinating is when somebody who's an important influencer like he is, and he changes the paradigm for everybody. So all these naysayers before who hated pineapple pizza, now they're all talking about it like they discovered how great pineapple on pizza can be.
100%. And I love that he has both the kind of courage and the ability to just go, there's nothing that's a no. Like, don't tell me pineapple is just a no. Yeah. I get that it can be awful, and it often is the flag post for not great pizza, but don't write anything off. And I love that about that. It's great.
Well, and the fact that he's paid his dues, he's got street cred. He's got all the credibility that you can
Absolutely
need
right.
to be able to set new standards for the industry. And we always need people like that. And I think you probably have some folks over in the UK that are kind of pushing the envelope and doing some great things there, and establishing new benchmarks. You and your brother, perhaps, and also here in the United States, we've got we try to feature in our interviews on Pizza Talk all the people that we think are out there, really establishing new standards.
And there are so many.
Yeah, there are, and it's like it used to be rare. 15 years ago, there were a few people that were willing to risk it. Now everybody's out there doing it because some of the pioneers have made it possible. Sourdough pizza, for instance. Then, how many of the people that you met over in Italy were working with natural starters versus yeast, and how much of that influence is happening in the UK?
It's really, I mean, interesting. One of the biggest new pizzeria companies in the UK they do work with sourdough, but actually most Neapolitans, like, that's a pretty rare thing. Levito Madre is quite rare. Actually, the style that's really taking Naples by storm at the moment, which is really interesting, is this. It's called Kanoto, which is Kanoto. Kanoto is like a rubber dinghy, like a kind of. Do you know what I mean? Those big, round, puffed up edges. Kanoto pizza is like, it's taking the crust and making like really, really high crust. So like it's like a Neapolitan pizza but with a 2-inch high crust.
Super puffy around the edge, yeah.
Super puffy, and that's they use like really complicated flour blends and like really clever use of yeast, and they honestly make a pizza that the edge is, you can cut it open, it's got like a hole bigger than a dollar coin type thing. So certainly like sourdough, big in London, certainly big in America, not big in Naples really.
Not yet, but then you get somebody who has the credibility to change the game for everybody.
Absolutely.
Well, we see a lot of that now. I think for the first time, the back and forth between the continents, so to speak, influencing each other. It used to be that we would always only, here in the States, we'd always look to Europe. We'd look for bread, we'd look to France or to Italy or to Germany. And for pizza, we'd look to Naples. But now Naples is looking back here. The flour companies, you feature Antimo Caputo, who's the great flour producer there, but he's using a lot of American flour in his blends. So,
absolutely. Well, they're blending a lot of wheat from all over to make different blends. But they're making it like a dedicated American style pizza flour. Obviously, they're in the center of Naples and they're famous for Neapolitan. But yeah, I mean, it just feels like, obviously, with everything about the world, like everything's getting closer, and it's so nice to see. Well, the original story of pizza, right, is it was invented in Naples, and then it came from Naples to America, obviously, when everyone emigrated to New York and New Haven, all those places. It exploded in Naples. So, went from Naples to America in like the very early 1900s.
Yeah.
And exploded in America across, Chicago and everything. But actually, if you went so pizza was huge in New York in 1930, but if you went to Milan in 1930 and said, "Can I have a pizza?" they would never have heard of it.
Interesting.
Naples was huge for pizza, but if you went outside Naples, it wasn't big at all. And it only got big again in Italy when the GIs came back for World War II. And actually, America brought pizza back to Italy in so many parts of the country. So, that whole melting pot thing, I just love. The Italians have got the ownership of it, and they did invent it, legit. But it is a global product.
Well, we of course kind of tip the hat to Naples for creating that style pizza. But then if you talk to Greeks, and I know a lot of Greeks here where I live, they'll say, no, we invented pizza even before we brought it to Naples. So the story just goes on and on and on. And of course, we can talk about this for days. So we'd love to get you and your brother back for another visit one of these days. In the meantime, I'm going to be enjoying the book, Pizza, a book by Pizza Pilgrims. What else? History, recipes, stories, people, places, and love. And clearly, your love for pizza is infused throughout this book and the work that you're doing. Love your energy. Love what you guys are doing, and really appreciate you. Even planting a flag right there in London and making pizza for your folks, and then creating these fabulous pizza kits that people can send for. Within 24 hours, you have a kit delivered and make. What about baking it? What do you recommend to them if they don't have?
Oh, the absolute way. It's in the book
pizza.
As well, but the absolute way to make pizza at home is the way you guys call it skillet. We call it frying pan. So you push the dough out, you lay it in the hot skillet, put all the toppings on, wait for a minute until there's some color on the base of it, and then you get it underneath the broiler as hot as it'll go. And you can kind of recreate that Neapolitan oven heat that you just can't do in a standard home oven.
Interesting. Great technique. Next time we have you back, maybe we can do a demo and have
Let's
you show
do a
people
demo.
how to do
I'd
that.
love that.
Fantastic.
That'd be great.
Well, Thom Elliot, say hi. Thank you also to your brother James. Thank you both for doing this book, and thanks for spending time with us on Pizza Talk today. And thank all of you who are watching. Spread the word. And when you're in the UK, you've got more than one location, you said, right?
Yeah, they're almost all in London. We have one in Oxford and we have 13 in London, all Pizza Pilgrims. So
13 of them in London. So, I know that's a lot. And are all of them doing pizza to go? Are they staying open, or did you have to close them?
The vast majority are. There are some in the sort of financial districts and stuff that are just not in a good shape right now, but it'll be back.
Well, it's going to turn around, and by the time all of us are brave enough to get on a plane to fly back over, you guys should be up and running again. So you know where to get great pizza in London and throughout the UK, and just keep looking for the book, Pizza by the Pizza Pilgrims. James and Thom Elliot, thank you again, and thanks all of you for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode of Pizza Talk.
Thanks for having me. Absolute pleasure.
Love it.